E aí pessoal, beleza? Bom, hoje estou aqui para mais um vídeo da série de Genshin Impact. Vamos continuar, né? Se você quiser ver essa série desde o início, eu vou deixar um card aqui em cima. E, se puder, se inscrever no canal e ativar o sininho, ajuda demais. Beleza? Bom, temos aqui recompensas, vamos pegar. Missão semanal. Pega aqui. Temos também. Acho que tem conquista. Tem, ó. Tem conquista. Temos aqui, ó. Derrote senhora sem destruir seus corações em chamas. Foi o que eu fiz hoje. Cara de ódio, né? E é isso, eu acho. Bom. Vamos seguir a missão que a gente tá fazendo. Mano, essa outra missão aqui é qual mesmo? Ah, essa aqui é do evento que a gente não deve fazer não, que é Fontaine, certo? Vamos aqui, ó. Missão da Sangonomiya. Já tá cansado, trabalhando muito, né? Sonhos do guerreiro como o rejuvenescer da gama da primavera. Banquete da vitória. Vá para o local do banquete da vitória. Vá com Kokomi para o local do banquete da vitória. E ouça o seu discurso. Bora. Já estamos aqui perto. Olha ali, ó. Olha lá, a fogueira. A fogueira maluca. Ela tá cansada de trabalhar. Trabalhando muito. Espere à noite. 18 horas. Da 18 às 6. Vamos mudar aqui. Tá. Coisa pouca. Tá aí.
It looks like everything's in place for the feast. But I still need to give a quick speech before the festivities begin.
Vai lá. Só não desmaia aí, tá bom?
Oh, how much energy will that take? Do you think you've got enough? Don't worry, I've got plenty. Thanks to you two, I recovered more quickly than usual. That's great! We'll be rooting for you.
Bora então. Caminha perto da fogueira e começa a fazer o discurso.
Welcome, everyone. Today is the day that we celebrate our victory. Recently, our war with the Shogun's army came to an end, and we finally saw the abolition of the Vision Hunt Decree. None of us can know what the Inazuma of the future will look like. But tomorrow, I meet with the Tenryou Commission for peace talks. I give you thank you all for your valiant efforts throughout. Truly, it is only through those efforts that we have been able to prevail in this trial. This feast is held in honor of each and every one of you gathered here today. I hope all of you get to relax and enjoy our...
Tá aí, ó. Ela não desmaiou. Depois de um tempo.
Tonight seems to have gone off without a hitch. People tend to be more open when they're in a good mood. Could I ask you to go around? I still have no further leads regarding the issue of potential collusion between the Tenryou and I'm concerned that something might happen at tomorrow's peace talks. Okay, sure.
Vamos lá aproveitar que o pessoal tudo bêbado, tirar a informação deles. Acho que só quem tá com o nome em cima, né? Tipo essa mulher aqui. Não, todo mundo tá com o nome. Ah, não é. Tá marcado no Hirai. E aí, cara, fala comigo.
Watatsumi Island is finally at peace, and it's all
Eu
thanks to
também
Her
ajudei, tá bom?
Excellency, Sangonomiya.
Tem acontecido alguma coisa?
Recently, well, the biggest thing for us is that we can finally get back out on the ocean to fish. During the hostilities, the open sea was full of warships. We just had to make do with what little fish and shrimp we could get our hands on closer to shore.
Certo.
When the catch wasn't good, we'd all go hungry. The poor kids were crying all day and night. We'd go to bed ravenous and be tossing and turning all night long, trying to keep it together until the morning. I hear you're captain of Swordfish too, is that right?
Sou eu.
Well, thank you for your service. Here, have a fish. It's freshly caught, so it's a bit.
Ah, muito obrigado, cara. Muito obrigado, eu mereço. Eu sou incrível.
Oh, no. We couldn't possibly.
Papai me recusando comida.
Ah, come on, take it. Without you, we'd probably still be going to bed hungry.
Quem é você?
tonight.
Você não é pai,
Her
amor?
Excellency always teaches us to repay.
Okay, well, thanks. Come on.
Quem possui o pai? Fale com os habitantes. Quem que o jogo tá pedindo? Quer vassal? É assim.
Hey there. Care for some fruit and vegetables? Nature's remedy when
Tem
you overdo the
acontecido alguma
barbecue. Are
coisa?
you referring to the thing about the Tenryou Commission and the Fatui? I've heard rumors, but nothing too...
Fala aí.
It's funny you should say that the soldiers seem excitable, though. I've had the same feeling. See that guy over there?
É, o cara tá realmente esforçado, hein?
He's been acting strange these days. Always shouting and waving his spear around when he's got nothing to do. He scared the heck out of me a few times. It's a miracle the fighting has finally come to an end. Yeah, I really hope we don't go making any more... Sorry, I'm afraid I don't have much information. If you still have questions, you...
Sounds promising. Let's go see what that...
Vou falar com um cara maluco ali que só sabe treinar. Cara... Interessante, hein? Não vou falar seu nome de jeito nenhum. Fala aí. O nome dele não pode falar.
This guy smells of booze.
Huh? Wait, don't tell me. Captain of Swordfish too, right?
Exatamente, meu parceiro Zen. Eu chamo ele de Zen, pode ser? Zen, porque ele também tá doidão. Tomou cerveja aí, ó.
You actually came back. I thought you'd abandoned the platoon and made a run for it.
Você não me conhece, né, cara? Eu nunca...
Is that so? All anyone talks about the... Do you remember what the most important thing is to the resistance?
A vontade de um guerreiro.
Got that right. So I'm gonna put you to the test. Time to see if you truly are a bona fide
Cara, você tá
resistance
bêbado, tá
warrior.
doidão.
I'll answer your questions, but only if you can beat me in a duel.
This guy. Would it kill him to just have a normal conversation?
Né?
What do you think? Are we gonna do this?
Em alguns segundos você estará implorando para
We'll
falar.
see about that.
Não vou nem usar o escuro de zombie. Pera aí. Ih, rapaz. Ferrou, galera. Meu nível é 40. Meu nível é 30, jogo. Tô enfrentando um cara nível 90. Cara, meu dano tá maneiro. Ô, louco. Eu fazia aquilo ali, velho. Viram o movimento que eu fiz? Eu acho que o meu personagem não faz isso, não. Tipo, o furacão eu tô ligado. Mas eu tô falando daquele giro que ele deu. Não me lembro. É nóis, hein, cara. É nóis. Rapaz, eu controlei eu mesmo. Que incrível.
You're a strong fighter. No wonder Her Excellency chose
Viu,
you.
Zen? É.
You really do have a warrior's will. Then maybe you can understand. Captain,
Camarada.
will you join us?
Primeiro, você precisa me dizer o que está acontecendo, Zen.
We made it up. The story about the Tenryou Commission colluding with the Fatui. It didn't happen.
Rapaz, eu não esperava por isso, hein? Fala comigo.
Poor Kokomi's been worried sick. You're telling us you made the whole thing up? What the heck were you thinking? This could send you right back into war with the Tenryou Commission.
Yes, that's exactly what we're hoping to achieve. Peace talks? Everyone's been drawn in by the idea. That's why the future of what's to stop the Tenryou Commission from stabbing us in the back? And what's to stop the Raiden Shogun from issuing another vision hunt decree?
Eu impedirei ela. Se ela inventar isso aí de novo, eu mesmo com as minhas mãos. Quem é essa? Tá ligado? Quem é Shogun Raiden perto tá ligado?
We
Minha
are the
força.
resistance. Everything hinges on our warrior's will.
Eu já acabei com ela uma vez, cara. Nós somos a resistência. Tudo depende da vontade de nossos guerreiros. O cara, ele quer luta, mano. Ele quer, tá ligado?
We can't trust the Tenryou Commission or the Raiden Shogun, but we can put faith in ourselves. Surely you agree with that?
His point does kinda make sense, but
Você só quer lutar.
yeah.
Exatamente.
Everything you said just now is pure speculation. Are you seriously willing to make up a wild rumor and ruin the peace every...
Don't take that tone
Eu
with me.
cliquei sem querer.
Acting like you're above all of this? What would you understand?
Ô Zen, você bebeu muito, hein? Bebeu muito.
For the sake of victory, we embodied the warrior's will to the fullest. You understand? We were all in. Now they're suddenly trying to tell us that none of it. You'd have me just put down my weapon and start living like an ordinary person. But how can I? How can I when every time I close my eyes, I see the faces of the friends we lost in battle?
E você quer perder mais.
Every
É
time I
isso.
see them there in my mind's eye, it reminds me that I can never forgive the Tenryou Commission and never forgive the Vision Hunt Decree.
Então vai você sozinho lá. Vai lá. Vai perder amigos, quer perder mais.
I guess you're not one of us. Well, whatever. Go ahead and tell Sangonomiya if you want.
Too late? What do you mean? Darn. Doesn't seem like he's gonna answer that one. What are we gonna do? This is really serious.
Vamos lá falar com ela, vamos lá. Reportar as informações? Mano, que loucura. Os caras inventou porque eles querem ir pra briga mesmo. Não pensa no povo, não. Ô mulher. Demite aquele cara lá. E os outros que estão com ele.
The whole thing about the Tenryou Commission colluding with the Fatu, they wanted the peace talks to break down so that they could carry on fighting the war. And they said it's... I see.
Ih, tá dormindo aí, ó. Tá tudo bem?
I'm fine. Don't worry.
É, quer dormir. Preguiça.
This is my fault. If only I'd perceived what they were feeling earlier, it never would have come to this. I think I understand what Kozen means when he says it's too late. The talks don't begin until tomorrow, but both sides have already sent their guards to the location. They are responsible for making sure that... I highly suspect that one of Kozen's pro-war co-conspirators will have infiltrated the guards with an intent to reignite hostilities tomorrow during the negotiations. Well, that's no good. Do you want us to head over there now and switch out the guards? That won't work. Firstly, the act of bringing a new team of guards to a neutral negotiation site will put both sides on high alert. It would almost certainly push the pro-war faction into taking action. They would attack the Tenryou Commission's guards and we'd be in danger of war breaking out once again. Not to mention that we have no idea how many of Watatsumi Island's soldiers are involved in this plot. If we change the guard in haste, we face the... It sounds like a really tricky situation. Don't let it worry you. What's done is done. These soldiers crossed the line, but the blame is not theirs alone. Whatever happens, I will find a way to ensure they do not... Let's meet here again tomorrow.
Ela é boa em traçar planos, então. Então ela vai dar um jeito. Espere até amanhã do dia seguinte, 10 da manhã, meio-dia. Deixa eu ver aqui. Ó. Amanhã do dia seguinte. Então. Amanhã. 10 da manhã. Não é isso? O povo quer lutar, o povo quer, tá ligado? Batalha, tá ligado? Vamos ver o que ela vai arrumar. Ela é boa em traçar planos.
I hear the voice of fate, speaking my name in humble supplication.
Aqui. Vamos ver.
Well, The peace talks are upon
Eu
here.
estou bem.
These are some directives I wrote last night. These negotiations are complex, to be sure. But I thought about it carefully and realized there are no more than 187 possible outcomes.
Nem dormiu.
I took the liberty of writing them all down. This way, you will be able to adapt with speed, no matter how the events
Vai dar
play
tempo de eu ler
out.
isso tudo?
Whoa, this is huge! Let's
Né?
see. Fierce dispute, violent escalation, armed revolt, Wow, there are so many! But you've thought of a solution to each one! Glad to hear it. These peace talks are quite exceptional. It is a major step forward both for but any amount of dissatisfaction within our ranks weakens our negotiating position. As the Divine Priestess of Watatsumi Island, this responsibility is, of course, mine to shoulder. But
Eu também
would you be
quero
willing
que as
to lend me a
negociações de
hand?
paz tenham sucesso.
Excellent.
Vamos lá. Mano, vamos ver o que vai acontecer. Tô curioso, hein? Vá até o local das negociações. É ali. Então a gente vem pra cá. Mano, será que vai dar certo? Será que vai dar certo? Se começar uma guerra ali do nada de novo, eu acabo com todo mundo. A verdade é essa. Bora. Que não brinca não. Tem um desafio ali, ó. Será que dá pra gente fazer? Tá na direção do encontro lá, ó. Vamos ver. Eita. Tá. Tem um de fogo ali. O de fogo ele é demorado. Tem que levar ele primeiro. Boom. Esse de choque ali é de boa. Ele já era, não é possível. Errou. Só jogar ele lá embaixo. Nossa, peraí, ué. Dá pra ganhar desse cara. O problema é que um é de fogo, velho. E de fogo é complicado. Vou pegar esse de fogo aqui primeiro. Tô sem o Osvaldo. Sem o Osvaldo eu não consigo. Eu preciso do Osvaldo 2 vezes. Bora. Boa, garoto, deu certo. Bora lá, mano. Eita. Ó, é um local de realmente até ter papel ali, ó. É um local de assinar acordo mesmo, né? Vamos ver o que vai acontecer. Quem é aquela ali? Vamos ver. Ah, é que é a mulher lá. Da tropa dos outros lá.
Kujou Sara. I believe the last time we met was on the battlefield.
Foi, eu lembro.
Yes, where you dealt my forces quite the devastating blow.
É, você perdeu.
But before we go any further, what are you doing here?
Não interessa pra você. Tô aqui pra testemunhar as conversações.
That's right. He's here to bear witness to the proceedings.
Por que tá com medo? Tinha planos de atacar? Pode esquecer.
He experienced the war between us firsthand and has made an enormous contribution towards securing the peace we have today. I couldn't think.
Seems reasonable. Then let's get straight into it.
Iniciou negociações.
The first
Relutante.
item is the maritime administration issue. During wartime, we restricted fishing rights for Watatsumi vessels in Narukami. We intend to remove these restrictions. But going forward, any of your vessels that fish in our waters will have to pay taxes in accordance with Narukami legislation in order to bring their catch back to Watatsumi.
That's fine. But if they're paying taxes, they should also be entitled to protection from the Tenryou Commission while in your waters. Any losses they sustain due to issues of public security will need to be compensated by the Tenryou Commission.
Accepted. Let's add that to the peace treaty. I can assure you that your vessels will be quite safe in our hands.
Ô louco, ó. Negociação de alto nível.
Negotiations seem to be going pretty smoothly.
Exatamente.
The next item has to do with the movement of people and military authority. In the past, our people have been subjected to lengthy interrogations on arrival in Watatsumi, and the same has been true for your people on arrival to Narukami. Economic cooperation between our islands has suffered greatly as a consequence. Few merchants are now willing to engage in inter-island commerce. Since the war is now over, I propose that we have the Yashiro Commission appoint a business
The problem there is that trade is a reciprocal affair. We'll need to involve merchants from both sides in this process if it is to succeed. We cannot give the Yashiro Commission full authority.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Watatsumi Island facing severe shortages of many essential goods at the moment? Having the Yashiro Commission organize everything centrally would work in...
True, we're experiencing some shortages, but we will recover in due course. Between the diverse range of goods we can produce ourselves and our strong trade links with other areas, we are capable of sourcing everything we need.
Começou.
Not to mention that your proposal would require separate talks with the Kamisato clan. If they've yet to sanction it, I believe you are going beyond the remit of the Tenryou Commission's authority.
Let's leave that aside for now, then. On to the military question. Watatsumi Island's forces will need to come back under the jurisdiction of the Tenryou Commission.
That just isn't feasible. Not in the short term, at least.
With all due respect, feasibility doesn't come into it. The Tenryou Commission alone has ultimate responsibility for Inazuma's national security. We cannot allow Watatsumi Island to be the sole exception to this rule indefinitely.
Os caras já estão bolando já, é o problema.
You Kujou scum! Colluding with the Fatui isn't low enough for you already. You just want to take everything away from us.
Começou.
Comrades, never trust the Kujou. Let's get them. Protect Madame Kujou.
Que isso?
Number 16. No, wait. 67? Or is it 73? Which one is it? Kokomi! Which scenario number is this in the directives? The last one, but hold off for the moment. Stand down, Tadakatsu. The situation has changed. Please stand by for further or rest assured. I am fully aware of your concerns, but I will deal with the Madame Kujou. This is rather serious. I believe you owe Watatsumi Island an explanation.
Excuse me for a moment. Nobody makes another move until I have finished investigating. You two, here, now!
Os caras ali estão escondendo alguma coisa, hein? Os dois ali. E ela? Então tá, né?
Speak.
Tá na hora disso não, filha.
Collusion with the Fatui? Is this true?
Moto.
I wouldn't exactly call it collusion as such.
Pronto, ganhamos aqui, né? Ganhamos a discussão. E realmente existe uma conspiração, sendo que, tipo, os nossos soldados inventaram isso, só que acabou que era verdade. Que loucura.
We were approached by a few fatui. They mentioned, but at the time I felt like we could give it a try.
But we were extremely careful. We didn't agree to anything. We just said they could maybe start by heading to Watatsumi Island and stirring things up a little.
Ah, isso aí é o quê?
Then we... With respect, ma'am, there was no collusion. It was just a one-off conversation. How anyone from Watatsumi...
That's enough. When we return, there will be consequences. Might I remind you that this is the Fatui? Have you completely forgotten what they did to us? You should be having no interaction with them whatsoever, let alone entertaining offers of cooperation. So...
The Fatui's main forces have already left Inazuma. The few who approached us seemed like they wanted to settle a score for their boss.
Oh, her subordinates. So they're out for revenge. They want to keep Inazuma in a state of turmoil. One day, I will hunt them down. We bear responsibility for this issue. My sincere apologies. I have my own negligence to blame for this state of affairs. Please.
But of course, Madame Kujou. For the time being, however, there is evidently some discord within the Tenryou Commission's ranks. I would therefore not feel comfortable releasing Watatsumi Island's forces into your...
It seems that I must acquiesce. I will lay this issue aside for now. But we shall revisit it as soon as the Tenryou Commission has resolved our... As for the trade issues we raised, I will discuss options with the Yashiro Commission and make sure both sides have ample participation in...
Seems like Kujou Sara's on the defensive now. These negotiations should be smooth
É
sailing
claro,
from here on out.
o soldado dela estava errado, agora tem que ficar quietinho, quietinho. Termina a negociação. Tá aí.
I never knew the grand strategist of Watatsumi Island was a skilled negotiator, as well as... I hope that when we meet again, we can continue these sit-down discussions. Settling our differences on the battlefield is... I think we can leave things there for today. Once I get back, I will conduct a thorough investigation into the Tenryou Commission's...
I should inform you that we took out a Fatui camp recently. I suspect that before long, they will attempt to re-establish contact with your people in the hope of... I recommend you say and do nothing on the matter for the time being, lest you tip them off and they disappear. Wait for them to come to you. That way, you can capture them all.
Estrategista.
I will bear this in mind. I shall take my leave now.
Falou.
Your Excellency, we...
O que foi?
Let's discuss it after we get back.
Deu certo. Convença o soldado com Kokomi. Olha que maneiro, montar um cenário. Pô, vou sentar aqui. Eu concordo com a lei de... Tá ligado? Exportação de ervas naco. Aí eu vou assinar aqui. Entendeu? Aí a outra fala: eu discordo, porque vai trabalhar o tráfico. Tráfico não, né? Tráfego. Falar direito. Quer dizer, não sei, né? Vai que tem pessoas fazendo coisa errada aí na cidade. Então, né? Mas enfim, tá aí. Vambora que esse tanque vai desaparecer daqui, não vai? Vamos ver se vai não. Bom, vamos lá. Convence soldado. Bora. Deu tudo certo, até porque quem estava errado eram os outros lá, né? Então tiveram que ficar na defensiva. O soldado não está muito confiante, não. Vamos ver.
Your Excellency, you knew?
I have already been informed on the reasons for your actions. You believe the Tenryou Commission to be untrustworthy and sought to sabotage the peace talks and reignite
Eu
the war.
contei. Você me contou, eu contei.
Fortunately, the end result exposed and thwarted a secret
Foi na
Tenryou
sorte
Commission
aqui.
plot. Yet, this was purely incidental.
Exatamente.
And the end certainly did not justify your means.
É isso aí, eles falaram. Eles inventaram que os outros lá estavam com os Fatui. Eles inventaram. Acabou que era verdade mesmo. Então, né? Os fins não justificavam os meios. É isso aí.
But Your Excellency, so many comrades have sacrificed themselves in the line of duty. If we stop now, I want to keep fighting. I want ultimate victory, even if it means I have to pay the
Cara, vai
ultimate
dormir,
price.
descansa.
I understand your sentiments, but you cannot simply impose your will and expect others to bear the consequences. During the war, there were highs and there were lows, and in the end, there was a glorious victory. But you saw nothing of the countless others who will remember the war quite differently. Most people suffered terribly through each day.
É.
Watatsumi Island's people yearn for peace because they have long since given all they had to the war effort. They are tired of treading water and don't need you dragging them back underneath.
But...
I understand, I do. And the fault is not yours alone. It was largely an oversight on my part. I taught you to nurture a warrior's will.
It's not your fault, Your Excellency. It was out either way. We are ready to accept sentencing under martial law.
Very well. Then I hereby declare... that as of today, I am founding a new secret corps of the army. This division will be responsible for keeping Watatsumi Island safe and secure. You and your comrades will all be welcome to join. But be warned, the training will be grueling.
Your Excellency, what are you saying?
I have concluded from today's peace talks that the Kujou clan cannot achieve absolute peace and stability in the near future. Many seek peace, but there are still those who pursue. It is right that Watatsumi Island moves towards peace, but we must still retain a defensive capacity. Those whose warrior's will is alive and well, I invite you. I don't want to hear from any of you again until all of you can take on 2 shogunate samurai at a time.
Thank you.
All right, dismissed. Go and report to General Goro. And if there is, there will be no more leniency from me, whatever reasons you may.
Yes, ma'am. From now on, we will focus on our training. Thank you for this opportunity, Your Excellency.
Ela sabe mesmo, hein? Que ela pensou o seguinte.
I think that's finally everything in hand.
Se existem soldados aliados que ainda querem guerra, também existem soldados inimigos que ainda querem guerra. Então o que ela fez? Pegou a vontade desses soldados aliados, tô com vontade de lutar, criou uma comissão lá, enfim, um grupo lá de defesa da cidade. Então eles vão usar essa vontade de luta para defender a cidade, caso aconteça, alguma coisa, né?
I can feel my energy levels starting to drop.
Vai lá dormir, vai lá. Fale com o Kokomi, próxima base. Bora. Ela sabe das coisas, hein? Pulou. Onde é que é mesmo? Ah, tá aqui. E aí, mulher? Fala comigo. Bora.
Thank you for everything. With your help, peace has been restored on Watatsumi
Como
Island
estão seus
once
níveis de
more.
energia?
Recovering. Slowly, but today was a reminder that I don't cope well in situations with lots of people. I think I might get Goro to handle the negotiations next time.
Você fez um trabalho
Do you
admirável.
think so?
Vamos ver se ela vai dar um de centroavante agora.
To be honest, I'm still a long way off what's expected of it. In the past, I was concerned only with winning the war, restoring peace, but I realize now that wasn't going far enough. I have a long way to go. But that's okay. If I can't make the journey in one giant leap, I'll just have to settle for in short, I've still got some maturing to do. Could you stay here on Watatsumi Island?
Eu tenho mais o que fazer, foi mal.
To keep me...
Aí. Eu tenho mais o que fazer. Vamos lá. Finalizamos a missão. Muito boa a missão, hein? Muito boa. Deu tudo certo a negociação. Aprender mais sobre essa personagem também, querendo ou não, né? Então, missão lendária dela está concluída. Agora essa aqui, ó, aí, ó. Olha que interessante. Agora eu posso, depois que eu terminei essa dela, eu posso desbloquear essa. Só que por enquanto eu não vou aceitar. Será que esse cara... Tipo, porque só depois que eu fiz aquela que eu posso fazer essa, né? Ah, o pessoal falou que essa mulher aqui, ó, eu nunca vi. Falou que é de Mondstadt, só que ela aparece só em evento. Então por isso que eu nunca vi ela, né? Dá pra desbloquear mais alguma? Não. Então, vamos com calma. Dá pra eu resgatar a chave aqui. Perfeito? Então é o seguinte, galera. Temos um tempo ainda. Deixa eu pensar, porque a missão a gente terminou. Deu tudo certo. Mano. Eu acho que já dá pra, né? Temos um tempinho pra poder iniciar mais uma, né? Vamos lá? Vamos, então, aqui mesmo. Missão lendária. Aí é o seguinte. Mano, eu acho que eu já vou na dele, velho. Porque a dele veio logo depois que eu terminei a de hoje. Talvez tenha alguma coisa a ver com a de hoje. Não sei. Vamos lá, mesmo se não tiver coisa a ver, não tem problema, não. Vamos falar. Eu não sei quem é esse cara também, não. Tá a primeira vez que eu tô vendo esse cara. Taurus Iracundos. Não, o nome dele é Irataki Ito. Não, Arataki, né? Irataki não. Arataki Ito. Capítulo de Taurus Iracundos, ato 1. Bora. Aí está de Inazuma. Fale com Caterine na cidade de Inazuma. Alma de Ouro. Maldade Oni. Caterine de Inazuma espera que você possa investigar algo urgente. Então, vamos lá, Caterine de Inazuma. Vamos ver o que é isso aí, né? Bora. E depois que a gente terminar as missões lendárias que forem possíveis de fazer, né, a gente volta para Duarconte, tá bom? Fale com Caterine. Bora. O pessoal falou que dá pra comprar um livro, tá ligado? Aqui, ó. Eu devo fazer depois. Não tem a missão dos livros, ó. Colete 5 livros. Já coletei um. Um desses livros vende aqui na lojinha dessa cidade aqui. Na loja da Yaemiko. Quando a gente passar lá perto de novo, a gente compra. E aí, Caterine, o que você tem pra nós? E ela... Aquele besouro ali com o chifre consegue levantar acho que 2 vezes o peso dele. Impressionante. Eu acho que é 2 vezes. Ou muito mais do que o peso dele. Tem uma pesquisa sobre isso. Eu acho que ele é o animal que mais levanta peso com relação ao peso dele mesmo. Eu não sei se é isso não. Enfim. Tem algo que você precisa de ajuda?
Yes. I'm afraid that I have another task that requires your assistance. The Adventurers Guild has recently received a commission directly from the Tenryou Commission. The assignment is both urgent and
Deixa
dangerous.
comigo.
After assessing the assignment, the guild has concluded that seasoned adventurers are required. Naturally, you came to mind.
Muito obrigado, né?
Just another day on the job.
Exatamente. Você disse perigoso? Por que a comissão Tenryou não pode resolver isso por conta própria?
Allow me to explain. The Tenryou Commission recently issued an arrest warrant for a young Oni by the name of Arataki Ito.
E é ele aí da missão, ó. Rapaz, será que é tráfico? Eu falei aquela hora. Será? Aquela hora eu falei, sem querer. Eu queria falar tráfego, né? Falei tráfico. Mas e se eu estiver prevendo o futuro? Né? Um Oni. Você quer dizer aqueles caras grandões com chifres?
That's correct. This particular Oni is quite vocal and audacious, so he already has quite the reputation on the streets. That said, he has never been caught up in major trouble of any kind. So
Tá.
it came as a surprise to learn that he has recently been accused of stealing things and sometimes even whisking away the people themselves.
Entendi.
But it doesn't end there. When the Tenryou Commission dispatched a Doshin to apprehend him, he assaulted the Doshin before making a
Parece ser
getaway with his
verdadeiro
accomplices.
criminoso, exatamente.
Come on, guess. It's up to us to bring this Oni in. No problemo. This does sound like a job for the Traveler. He'll be back with that Oni in no time.
Exatamente.
I have complete confidence you will succeed. However, please exercise caution. This Oni also happens to hold a vision, and is the leader of an organization known as the Arataki Gang.
Não tenho muita experiência em brigas de gangues. Ele tem uma gangue, mas eu tenho a Paimon. Paimon?
On second thought,
Ué,
I
por
will
quê?
leave the fighting to you. The last place Paimon wants to be is in a gang fight.
We are still investigating Arataki Ito's potential motives behind these incidents, but please ask around in the streets as well. There will likely be others more familiar with Ito's circumstances than I am, who can
Beleza.
thank you. I will await your return. Ad Astra Avisask.
Exatamente. Vai você. Vambora. Alma de ouro.
Well, let's start asking around on the streets. Hopefully we'll learn a little more about this Arataki Ito guy and figure out where he might have run off to.
Cara, você conhece Furuya no Boro? Ah, você é lendário, cara. Você conhece o Arataki que é ladrão aí e tudo mais? Conhece?
Arataki Ito?
Sim.
Yeah, I've heard of the guy. Word is he did something monumentally stupid, then ran off before they could catch him.
Que história é essa, cara, que ele fez?
And to be completely honest, I was a little surprised when I first heard it. Okay.
Fala comigo.
Wait, you mean he already had a bad
No, not exactly. He's just very
Entendi.
overbearing. So, on the one hand, he's a larger-than-life kind of guy. But on the other hand, he's emotionally volatile. When he's in a good mood, he's as high as a kite. But when
Igual
he
pai,
gets
mano.
up, I don't personally see him as a bad guy. But I guess I wouldn't put it past him to get all riled up and lose control.
Entendi, entendi. Ele tem algum tipo de trabalho?
You know, I'm afraid that I'm not too sure myself. I keep a pretty good eye on what's happening. When someone asks for it, he's willing to lend a helping hand, but other than that, he's just out making a scene with the kids on the street or his gang.
Entendi.
If I had to guess, his lack of income finally drove him to do something more drastic.
Is it just Paimon, or is this Ito fellow starting to sound pretty weak?
I'm afraid that I don't have much else to tell you. He tends to spend his time with people a little more lively than myself. Perhaps you could try asking around some more.
Okay, thanks.
Vamos lá, o cara é exagerado então. O cara ele é exagerado. Cadê a... Ela aqui... Ah, ela vem que eu perguntar. Ah... Nami. Quase esqueci. Senhorita Nami. Fala comigo.
Arataki Ito? Oh yeah. I heard about that whole thing. I'm sure it must have been a mix-up on the Tenryou Commission.
Huh? How can you be so sure? Is he really...
No, perhaps you misunderstand me. When I said he could never do
Você
anything
quer dizer que ele não é o
dastardly, I meant
forte o suficiente?
he literally
Quer dizer que ele não é
doesn't have what it
inteligente o suficiente?
takes.
Bom, acho que deve ser forte, então eu vou falar isso aqui.
Maybe a story will explain it better. So, he used to spend a lot of time playing rock, paper, scissors and hide and seek with the kids on the streets.
Beleza.
Kids, being kids, aren't exactly the most difficult to outsmart. I'm sure you can see what I'm getting at here. He used to lose all the time, sometimes catastrophically.
On purpose, though.
No, not at all. The one time I saw him win, he started jumping around and yelling, "I won! I finally won! I'm unbeatable!" And so on. Then he took the kid's candy as his prize and ate it right there in front of him.
Rapaz.
Ugh, that's just plain wrong.
He did take it way too far that time. The poor kid started crying, so I stepped in and gave Ito a scolding. He was pretty quick to admit that he was fully in the wrong, and it wasn't long before the kid had stopped crying and was left. In fact, the children quite like playing with him because he's always serious about the stakes and never throws a... So, I suppose what I'm trying to say is a guy who can't even beat kids at a children's game really
Acho que agora entendo seu
capable
ponto de
of these kinds
vista.
of diabolical deeds?
Não era nada disso que eu esperava ouvir.
He doesn't sound like a bad guy at all. In fact, he kind of sounds...
Yes, my thoughts exactly. Still, the Tenryou Commission's evidence against... So, I'm not trying to condone his actions or anything. If he really has messed up big time, then he should face the consequences just like anyone else.
Thanks for the info. We'll keep asking.
Então ele é exagerado e não sabe brincar de pique-esconde. Esse é quem descobriu. Pergunte as informações. Bora. Ué.
Arataki Ito. Of course I know him. We've been trying to apprehend him recently.
Por quê?
We know he's already left Inazuma City, but with no clues to follow, we have no choice but to commission others for help, including the Adventurers Guild.
Catherine says that Arataki Ito hasn't done anything seriously bad before. Paimon's curious. Is there any
Yes, of course. Otherwise, we'd never have put so many people on the case. For starters, most thieves will try to devise a way to conceal their identity, but for an Oni, the horns are a dead giveaway. I mean, the whole city could have recognized it was him.
Então, peraí, alguém com chifres fez o roubo. Então falando que só pode ser ele, mas se tiver outro? E se ele fugiu? Porque não foi ele, foi outro. Só que o povo acha que é ele porque é ele que tá com chifres. Como você sabe que não foi um...
At first, he was just one of our suspects. But when we went to investigate, he personally confessed to everything and started trying to provoke the officers. What's most frustrating is that he then managed to escape along with his entire gang. He must have been planning the whole thing right from the start.
Ele tem intenção de fazer algo ruim.
Of course he did. Whether material or psychological, there is plenty of evidence. He's never had a Mora to his name his entire life, and he's never kept down a real job. Word is that he also takes care of someone in his gang, and that the burden of it, after scrounging for a living all these years, maybe he thought that being the bad guy would be an easier ride. As for his psychological motives, it's a bit embarrassing to talk about, but we confiscated his vision during the Vision Hunt Decree.
Então ele estava se vingando da comissão Tenryou.
At the time, Arataki Ito put up quite a fight. It took a huge amount of manpower and resources, and in the end we had to... The Vision Hunt was a mistake, but we never expected that he would go to such
He does sound a little unstable. Just like people have been saying.
Ele tem motivo, hein?
If the two of you are able to capture Arataki Ito, please bring him straight here.
Thanks for all the info. Too bad we still don't know where he could have run off to. We already got word on the street, so maybe it's time to talk to a real specialist. Paimon remembers that there's a detective agency here in Inazuma. Maybe we can try asking there.
Eu lembro também. Teve uma missão que usou detetive, né? Pergunte por mais informações a Sango. Sango, eu lembro desse nome, né? Então é isso, galera. Vou deixar aqui. Próximo vídeo a gente segue essa missão, então. Perfeito? É isso. Missão do Arataki Ito. É essa. Bom. É isso. Amanhã a gente volta. Espero que vocês tenham gostado. Se puder, deixar o like. Muito obrigado. E até o próximo vídeo.